Most people hear the word debt and instantly think it's a bad thing, something to avoid, something shameful, something that only careless or desperate people get themselves into. But the truth is, debt is a tool, and like any tool, it can either build your future or completely wreck it, depending on how you use it. The real difference lies in understanding what kind of debt you're dealing with, and more importantly, why you're taking it on in the first place. In this video, we're looking at good debt and bad debt. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps this small channel grow. A lot of people just assume debt is either always bad or always normal, depending on what they saw growing up. But your upbringing isn't a financial plan, and your parents' habits aren't automatically the right ones for you. The moment you start thinking for yourself, properly examining why you're borrowing, everything about how you handle money begins to shift. Not all debt is created equal. There's good debt, the kind that helps you grow your income or your net worth, and there's bad debt, which just eats away at your finances and gives you nothing in return. The difference between the two aren't always obvious at first, and that's where most people get trapped, because when you don't know the rules, it's easy to mistake one for the other. Take a student loan for example. On paper, it's just a pile of debt, thousands or even tens of thousands that you have to pay back. But if that loan helps you land a job that pays more, opens up better career opportunities, or gives you access to knowledge and networks you wouldn't have otherwise had, then that loan isn't just a burden, it's an investment. That's the key idea behind good debt. It's debt that does something for you. It works in your favour, even if it takes time. The same logic can apply to things like a mortgage. Most people can't buy a home outright, and that's okay. A mortgage allows you to own a home, build equity over time, and benefit from appreciation. If you're careful with what you buy and avoid stretching yourself too thin, that kind of debt can end up being one of the best financial decisions you ever make. In fact, some people use mortgages as a way to generate income, buying properties to rent out, which not only helps pay off the loan but also brings in extra cash each month. That's a classic example of good debt in action, borrowing to own something that pays you back. It's not about the debt itself, it's about what the debt allows you to do. Now let's talk about the other side, bad debt. This is the kind that offers no lasting value, debt you take on just to fill a momentary want. Think credit card purchases for clothes you don't need, gadgets you're replacing for no reason, or that impulse buy that felt good for 10 minutes and then sat in a drawer forever. Bad debt doesn't make your life better in the long run. It just makes your wallet thinner and your stress level higher. And the worst part is, bad debt is usually the most expensive kind. Credit card debt often comes with interest rates above 20%. Meaning if you're carrying a balance, you're basically paying a premium just to owe money. It's like digging a hole and then getting charged rent for being in it. Store financing, payday loans, and those sneaky buy now pay later schemes fall into the same trap. They seem harmless up front, but over time they drain your future options. But here's where things can get tricky. Sometimes what looks like good debt can become bad debt if it's used wrong. If we take the student loan example from earlier, but this time you borrow $50,000 for a degree in something that doesn't lead to job prospects or skills with market value, that's not a good investment. Or if we take a mortgage again, if you buy a home that's way beyond your means just because you fell in love with the kitchen, you could be setting yourself up for decades of financial strain. So the real question isn't just is this good debt or bad debt, it's what's the return on this debt? What are you getting out of it, and is it worth the price you're paying? Not just in money, but in time, energy, and peace of mind. If the answer is yes, then maybe it's worth considering. If not, it's probably not a smart move. There's also another layer to all this. Your personal habits and mindset. Two people can take on the same amount of debt for the same reason and have completely different outcomes based on how they manage it. Someone who tracks their spending, plans for the future, and builds a safety net will handle debt very differently from someone who ignores statements and just hopes things work out. Debt doesn't just reveal your financial position, it reveals your relationship with money. That's why it's so important to build awareness before you borrow. Ask yourself why you need the debt, what you're hoping it will do for you, and whether it truly moves you closer to where you want to be. If you're just trying to ease discomfort or keep up appearances, the debt will almost always backfire. But if you've thought it through, done the math and have a plan, then that same debt might actually be a stepping stone. There's also a timing factor. Debt that makes sense in one part of life might be a terrible idea in another. Taking on a business loan when you've already got 3 kids, a high-interest car loan, and no savings is a recipe for stress. But that same business loan when you've got a stable income, a cushion in the bank, and a clear plan, that could be a launchpad to something big. Context matters, timing matters, and your level of preparation matters most of all. Another trap people fall into is using debt as a crutch instead of a tool. They start relying on it, building their lifestyle around it. It becomes normal to have car payments, multiple credit cards, and zero savings. But that kind of normal is dangerous. It keeps you stuck. You end up working just to stay afloat, constantly paying for things you no longer even own or use. That's not living, that's just maintaining the illusion of comfort. But if you can turn it around, if you can see debt as something to be used carefully, intentionally, and strategically, it can actually accelerate your progress. Taking on a manageable loan to earn a high-paying skill, start a side hustle, or move closer to a job opportunity, that's not a reckless move and would probably be a smart one. It's how a lot of successful people got their start. In fact, many of the wealthiest people you've heard of used debt early on. Not to buy stuff, but to build. They took calculated risks, they borrowed to invest in themselves, their businesses, or their ideas. The difference is they didn't stop there. They paid attention, they learned, and they made sure the debt had a purpose and that it was moving them forward. You don't have to be a millionaire or billionaire to think this way. You just have to start asking yourself better questions before you borrow. Will this debt build me up or weigh me down? Is it helping me grow or just helping me avoid discomfort? Does this bring future value or just temporary relief? In summary, debt is just a decision. It's not good or bad in itself. What matters is what it does to your future. If it opens doors, expands your options, or builds your skills, then maybe it's worth it. But if it traps you, stresses you out, or puts your financial stability at risk, it's time to take a step back. There's power in knowing the difference, and even more power in choosing not to let debt control your life. Use it wisely and it can be a lever. Use it carelessly and it becomes an anchor. The choice, like most things in finance, is up to you. But here's the encouraging part. You don't have to get every decision perfect to win with debt. Most people learn this stuff slowly through trial and error. And the important thing is that you stay aware of what you're doing and why. If you've made mistakes before, missed payments, impulse buys, or loans you regret, that doesn't mean you're stuck with those habits forever. You can course correct anytime you choose. And sometimes the smartest move isn't taking on more debt or cutting it out entirely. It's pausing. Giving yourself the space to look at your numbers, breathe, and decide with intention rather than emotion. That bit of distance can save you from years of stress and help you spot opportunities you might have missed otherwise. Debt shouldn't make you feel powerless. When you understand it and use it deliberately, it becomes something you control, not something that controls you. Have you ever used good debt to try and improve your life financially, and how did it work out? Let me know down in the comments, and please do subscribe if you've enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. Why not consider watching this video next? If you have an interest in technology as well as finance, I've linked my other channel in the description below.